how Andrew 5X'd his business coaching practice in 90 days. That's the conversation today on the podcast. Let's jump in. BJ O'Neill here with the Business Coaching Success Podcast. So glad you're here, where I share with you strategies, tools, and tips to be able to grow your business coaching practice to six figures and beyond as a Christian business coach. Let's jump in. Welcome. Glad that you were here. Really cool story to share with you today. And I love hearing these stories because it highlights once again when someone simply takes action and goes and does the thing, that amazing things can happen. And in this story, you're going to hear that it's not a abnormal thing to do. It's just following a system, following a plan, and implementing it. And every single time we see coaches do this, it absolutely works, which we will we'll share that today. If you're on our coaching team, this is highly motivating for you, or it should be for sure. If you're considering, maybe you're taking a look at our resources, our entire what we call our focus method system, how it all works, whatever, you're trying to figure it all out, and you just want to learn more and understand it, you can go to businesscoachmastery.com. That's businesscoachmastery.com, and there's a button there. You can book what we call an Explore the Systems chat. We're just going to give you a high-level overview exactly how everything works to give you the ability to make a decision to go, hey, I think this is worth learning more about, and we'll leave that to you. And but the conversation is really what you need to really understand it all. We'll give you access to some tools, some resources, an overview of things so that you can really say, okay, based upon my current season of life, what's going on, I do see this or I don't see this being an opportunity. And again, we'll put that into your hands. So there are three things, we talk about this all the time on the podcast, three things that you must solve to build a long-lasting and sustainable business coaching practice. The first, where do I get leads and prospects? How does that process go? What should I say? All that good stuff. Number two, how do I convert the leads and prospects that I am talking to into ongoing, high-paying monthly clients? And the third, how do I coach the clients that I do get to get results with simplicity? Like every single thing when you build a long-lasting business coaching practice is going to fall somewhere along that journey, okay? Today, I'm going to share a story with you. We had a get-together last week with a summit. We call it a conversion summit. And this is an all-day virtual summit. We had amazing speakers that are actually our clients and our coaches who are in the field, using the system, doing the work, and they're sharing their experiences with that. And it was such an amazing good time, great questions, lots of energy, even though we had people from all over the world, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, of course, lots of people all over the U.S., Canada. Every single time we do this, so man, it's motivating, it gives a lot of energy. And we had, again, a number of speakers who shared, how they were converting. That was the purpose of the entire conference. And so one of our coaches shared, which I love hearing these kinds of stories because it once again proves the obvious, which is when you implement a structured process, you will get results. Now, arguably, some people may get them faster than others for lots of different reasons, but bigger than that, we see this happen every single time. The results always will happen when someone implements. And I want to say something, not for the sake of just being offensive to be offensive, but I don't want to not say it to not hurt someone's feelings. Every single time someone talks to us about they're struggling to get results, and I'd put it in the 95 to 98 percentile. When I ask the question, okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about your activity and your strategy. Almost every time there's very low to no activity, and the strategies are sporadic. They're just like all over the place. Ignoring wisdom ignoring the guidance. Like in our system, you have your own one-on-one coach and advisor. And we'll watch coaches sometimes just drift away, start to kind of try to do things their own when they've had zero success. They don't know what they're doing yet because they've not done it yet. You know, I always tell people, like, look, over time, as you get your own clients, you start to build it, then start doing your own the way you want to do it. But until then, follow the process, follow the systems, follow the guidance of your one-on-one coach. That's a part of the system. You should be following them. Anyway, so Andrew shares this story. He came to, we do 3 of these summits a year. And each of the summits focused on those 3 areas that I was sharing with: leads, then conversions, and then fulfillment. Okay. And so in January, we do the one around leads. Andrew came to that one. He came as a student. He made the decision, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to jump in the deep end. And smart guy, CPA, by the way, you know, he's not, you know, working with people and just doing their taxes and things like that. You know, there's lots of CPAs, lots of accountants can do the exact same thing. Okay. If you are one of them, this is for you. But you don't have to be a CPA for sure. But my point is that, you know, he wasn't born doing this kind of stuff. He's not been coaching for a long time, none of that. But he sees coaching as a pivot moment for him to build the business that he wants to build flexibility and stuff. So he shared his whole why. It begins to unpack. You know, he wants more freedom in his life. He wants to earn more money and more income. So he decided to utilize one strategy, doing small educational workshops. And he lays out this whole, exactly how he did it. He showed it. And utilizing our entire system that we have. And if you're listening as one of our coaches, you have the access to the exact same tools that he used. Here was the results that he shared. So that session was in January that he attended. In in a little more than 90 days, by just a smidge. 6 clients, charging around $3,000 per month per client. We're not even to the midway point of the year. I just let that process. I'm going to say it again. If you're looking at coaching, this has been my whole point for years. Like, you don't have to go crazy. You can use one strategy, in his case, a small educational workshop. He had 3 to 8 people per workshop. He didn't have 25 people. We'll hear this from people to go, well, I would do workshops, but I don't know a lot of people. I can't put 30 people in a room. That's not the point of the workshops. The workshops actually is to have less than 10 or 8 or so by design, so that there's intimacy and conversation and whatnot. That we have that as a part of our training. So he gets with his advisor, says, this is what I want to do, and builds a plan and starts doing it. And if you heard his whole story, if you heard his entire presentation, you would find that it's basic, normal, rudimentary work. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy, nothing outlandish, none of that. And he was able to get basically 1 client per workshop. And I would make the argument that there's people that came to that workshop that haven't said yes yet. He'll get even more yeses in the coming months in just the follow-up process. So here's some takeaways for you. 1, do not make this complicated. Do not make it complicated. There's no reason, but I don't understand what it is about the humans other than we live in a fallen world. You know, God created us all the same in terms of He created our mind, our body, how we operate and think. Yet we, messy humans, we mess it up all the time. We don't listen to good wisdom. And so we make it complicated and hard, and it becomes a struggle. And you look at that and you're like, but why? And it is of my belief that everyone's looking for, it's like you hear someone share a story like that. And so many people, rather than going, I'm going to go implement exactly what he did. Unfortunately, a lot of people go, I wonder if there's a different way to do it easier. And that kind of thinking is, terrible. It wastes time. It's slightly arrogant, honestly, because here you are, here's someone laying out exactly what they did. Not only exactly what they did, their results. Like someone could watch that and go, I'm going to implement it, and he even shared the things that he made the mistakes on. Like you could avoid some of the mistakes by just not doing what he shared. But instead, someone's going to go, I think there's probably a more simple way that will be even easier. And that person thinking that was going to waste their time, they're going to waste their money, and then they're going to blame somebody else. And that sounds hard today, but just coming off of our conference, I'm motivated, I'm encouraged, I'm enriched. But it always, and again, he was one of several, 6, 7 or so, no pun intended there. He was one of quite a few of presenters who laid out what they're doing directly from our systems. Nothing nuts, nothing crazy, nothing over the top, no special secret sauce. And I'll tell you why things like, by the way, one of the reasons why we are so pro doing small educational workshops. Look, the majority of people don't want to be a salesperson. I don't like sales. When I say that, I'm talking about like true, like normal sales, blah, 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 blah. And so when you set up an educational format like this and you invite people to it and where they get educated, there's nothing to sell. You're going to show them how a business strategy works. You're going to encourage them to go through an assessment process to see if it's possible for them. That's it. Like there's nothing crazy about it. You're not picking up the phone and calling people cold. And the cool thing is when you're doing these small educational workshops, you're able to take some of that content and actually show what you're planning on social media ahead of time, some of the results, pictures that past, right? It gives you content to use to promote the next one and so on. And so once again, and yes, he's charging $3,000. You may not charge that. We had another presenter charges only $1,500. There's reasons as to why that's the case or not the case. Doesn't matter. You get to do you. You get to charge what you feel like you're either worth or just what you feel like you're called to be able to engage business owners. And there's, again, through your one-on-one coach with us, we have these level of conversations on best practices, what you want to do, why, and so on. And so that should encourage you, one, if you're on our coaching team, that should encourage you, and maybe the workshop strategy is not your ballgame. That's totally fine. The bigger point is he implemented. He goes to a session in January, gets motivated, highly motivated, sees I just don't want to ever come across as a salesy kind of guy. Education is the right thing for him. He makes the choice. I'm going to choose one strategy and I am going to do it well. And he did. Nothing crazy. Now, he didn't hit all of his targets. He had higher targets. Of course, I'm a big believer in setting higher targets because it forces you and pushes you into doing things differently to get to the numbers that you want to get to. But just think about for a moment, small educational workshops with 3 to 8 people around a conference room table. For a lot of people, you can't argue with that. People in their minds, because of social media, they think you got to put 100 people in there, and I'm sure you can, but that's not what we're talking about. It is activity and action. And now after running, I think he's run now less than 10, 6 or 8 of them. He's getting his mojo. He's really learning. It's all crystallizing, right? The way he would run one right now is different than the way he would run the first one. Why? Repetition is the bedrock of mastery. And so you can begin to master something the more times you do it. But unfortunately, that's just not what most people do in life. They do it one time, it doesn't work, I quit. Then that happens, it's just in coaching, it's just life. Losing weight, getting healthy, relationship issues. But when we see somebody who does exactly what we know works, when they implement it to a T, they get results every single time. Every single time. So here he is sharing the goodness. He's loving life. He's excited for the future. Look, it's not all going to go perfect. We all know that. There's going to be challenges. There are going to be things that come up. You adjust. That everybody has to do that with every business that you have, right? But he's doing it. Once again, we see it, somebody who just takes action and gets it done, okay? So there you go. That's his story, 5X his business in 90 days by simply following one of the most basic processes on the planet, inviting people to a very small workshop at his Chamber of Commerce. Let them use the room. That's, not a hotel, not a crazy restaurant, very simple. Anybody could do it. And then again, that may not be your lane. There's a number of other strategies. The cool thing is he sat with his coach and said, look, this is what I'm thinking. I don't want to be a salesperson. I like education. Well, it makes sense to do workshops. You can do them virtually. Arguably, they're not as good as in person, but that still is an option if that's your lane. If you want to do it that way and you can run it on Zoom or whatever, maybe a combination. Maybe you do 50-50. So it's even an easier lift at that point. Plus, it builds your list at the end of the day. So there you go. Hope that's motivating to you. I hope that's encouraging to you. Again, that's not a new story at all. It's once again proof. When you follow a system and implement it, and a proven system, which we've got hundreds and hundreds of coaches all over the world, 29 countries doing it, it can work and it can work for you. Until next time, take care.